Welcome to the Mom Founders Table. Pull up a chair and join me every week as I become your thought partner and help you lead to create change. I'm your host, Kelsey Kenry, entrepreneur, millionaire mom of three, and strategic business coach for established mom entrepreneurs. Every week, you will get tactical guidance to apply to your business, leadership, and life that will help you further your true success while also being invited into a new way of thinking and being that creates true freedom. I'm here to call you out and call you up, so take a seat and let's begin. Welcome back to another episode of the Mom Founders Table, and I am in this place of true bliss and overflow right now because I just got back a couple days ago from my private client retreat. So if you aren't aware of this, I have been running retreats for many years now. I actually created a post and realized when I was creating this post that I ran my first retreat in, I think it was 2013 or 14, without even knowing like what a retreat was. This is back when I had a huge online fitness brand. And I was like, how magical would it be to just get all of these clients that are all over the world and just bring them together, have them come. We owned a gym at the time, have them come, be together. We can eat together, we can talk, we can share our struggles, share our hardships, and we can train together. And it's funny because there's pieces still in my retreats now that are infused, but my retreats are offered only to my current clients and past clients. And so it's just a really intimate space that it's generally between like 6 to 10 women, depending on the time of year and where we go and all those things and people's schedules, of course. And this retreat was so special. They're all so special, but we went to Charleston, and I thought I would take this episode to just kind of share some of the topics, some of the struggles that came up, some of the conversations, some of the goals, and kind of how we worked through them and what that looked like. So I think that the more that I do this work with women who are operating on what most would call a high level, right? Who have been in business for quite a few years, who are running teams, who have made the money. You've got the accomplishments, you have the achievements, you have the recognition, the notoriety, all the things, right? What we actually need is much more simple than what we think. And I see this every single time I run a retreat where everybody coming in, because my number one goal, whether it's with a private client, with anybody that I work with, or with any space that I facilitate, is to create an emotionally safe space. And I think that, if I'm being honest, I think that's one of those things that like when we're looking at like from a marketing perspective, it's not something that people go out and seek. They're like, oh, I want a coach that's going to be an emotionally safe space, right? Like when we think about our businesses, what we generally are seeking is we're looking for someone to help us with organization and profitability and reaching our goals and strategy, right? And those things are so fun and we need a tactical plan. But what I've found, especially over 15 years of coaching, is that like what we actually need is a space where we don't have to perform, a space where we can fully be ourselves, a space where we can cry, a space where we can be silly. And so I try to make sure that we are just so intentional about what we do at the retreats. And it's a lot more simple. I think there's people that run retreats that are like super bougie and luxury, and maybe we've done a lot of like luxe stuff, but I just find that like the feedback that I always get is the same thing. It's about them. It's about being able to connect. It's about honestly just like not having to rush throughout the day. It's about, again, being able to cry. And so all of that being said, I just think I feel really proud. I want to say that because I did commit to you guys and to myself that I was going to celebrate myself more. And I feel really proud of what I have created with my business as a whole, if I'm being honest. I feel really proud to be ethical and in integrity. And the more horror stories I hear, especially now that we have AI, I love AI. We should all use it. We all need to learn how to use it. But like in spaces where we're having conversations with clients, I had somebody that said that's like her coach, like in our messaging app, like responded with like a chat GPT message. I'm like, that is so crazy. Like we can't even conversate ourselves anymore. So anyways, I feel so proud. I feel so proud of the spaces that I have cultivated, of the connections that I have helped women build with each other, of the transformations that occur behind the scenes that produce the most fruitful, rewarding, inspiring results, because that's the stuff that really matters, right? It's change, it's internal change that achieves an external result. It's not an external result that then allows us to achieve an internal change. So I feel very proud. And I also feel very proud of what I've created with City Girls. And I have to take a moment here to be honest with you guys, because I have had literally hundreds of you message and click and say you're interested, but not purchase your ticket yet. And I just want to call you out for a second and say that, like, I understand that this is a new concept. I understand that this is something that you haven't experienced yet. I understand that it can be scary to go to maybe a new city if all the cities aren't a place that you live in yet, to be in a room with women you don't know, to be vulnerable with people that you don't know, to share space with new people. I understand. And also, once again, this retreat proves that, like, this is the best thing that you can do for yourself. So if you are one of my listeners who has not gotten a City Girls ticket yet, my team doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but I want you to go get your ticket right now to whatever city. I want you to use the code MFT guest. Literally, we made this code for all the women that I'm bringing on as guests. And I literally right now, as I'm saying this, was like, I'm going to offer it to them, because I don't want this. I just need you to break through that barrier of holding yourself back from being in these spaces that are new or uncertain or uncomfortable. What I'm asking for in this is I'm asking you to trust me. And I know that that's a lot, but I'm asking you, as a woman who is running a business, who wants more for herself and her life and her business, who wants to have it all, I'm asking you to trust me and take a chance and step into this room. We have 4 cities left. We have Charlotte, which is coming up at the time of airing. It'll probably be around a month away, maybe less. Like, you have to stop waiting, right? You have to stop like talking yourself out of things. Just do the thing, experiment, allow yourself this experience. And that's, again, with the retreat, like every single woman is like, I was unsure of what I was walking into. I didn't know how it would be, but because they trusted me and they came into it, they get this phenomenal experience. They make these incredible connections. Their eyes are open to so much. And I built City Girls to be able to offer you a similar experience in a shorter window of time. And I know that people are busy. I know that you have to work, but this is why I did it the way that I did, where it's a dinner from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and a workshop from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So it's like you could still pick your kids up from school, right? So get your ticket. It's only 20 seats in each city. All of the cities have multiple seats already taken, and I don't want you to miss this opportunity. Okay, so now let's get into the conversations in the retreat. So one of the recurring themes that kept coming up was the way that we see ourselves and making assumptions about what our actions or choices might do or people might think about the things that we do. So for instance, we were talking about, one of the things that I do for all of my clients is like reducing owner dependency, making sure that you have a life outside of your business. And so what came up in talking about this was a lot of the women, we feel guilty, right? So it's like, okay, so I get to go on vacation while my team is working. And I get to, live like this while my team is working. And so essentially what I told them is that every person has equal choice, meaning that if they want to go, if your team members, first of all, if they are somebody who would look at your social media and be like, she's on vacation. I'm so mad that I'm working and she's on vacation. That's probably not an ideal team member because they're not a team player. Second to that, they have a choice, right? Because what employees or team members a lot of times don't realize is everything that comes with being an owner. Like, yes, we have the flexibility and the availability and the financial freedom to make different choices. But with that comes a level of physical responsibility and mental responsibility that they don't understand because they haven't had it. And so we cannot make choices for ourselves or our business based upon assumptions of what other people may or may not think. And this was repeated because it was like, we feel so much guilt for stepping away. And the other thing that is attached to this is we naturally, as mothers, as givers, we naturally assume responsibility for so much. So if something happens, we're like, well, I have to take care of that. Or, if there's something, a new process, anything, whether that's in our household too, it's like, well, I'm the mom, so I should be the one doing that. And that way of thinking keeps us spiraling and keeps us stuck and keeps us doing and doing and doing and never getting to the point of reflection, never getting to the point of asking ourselves, is this what I really want for my life? Is this really what I want for my business? Because we don't even allow ourselves to go there. So that was a big one, was just really thinking about when we're making choices, are we making them from a place of alignment? And how are we holding ourselves back from doing the things or being the person that we want to be because we're afraid of what other people will think? Because we are innately people pleasers. And the more that we continue to let that control us, the more resentment is going to build. And what is really beautiful is there was a lot of releasing of that, of surrendering and acceptance and again, vulnerability. And so, because we carry so much and we white knuckle our way and have to push through, especially for the primary financial advisor, things really start to feel heavy. And that's why really the goal of this entire retreat was exhale, just exhale, just be here, let everything go for a second. And one of the other great topics of conversation that a lot of the women, because all of them are in different stages of working with me and have worked on different things, one of the women was sharing with another woman. She was like, I finally just started letting a lot of balls drop. Right? Because a lot of times our overload and our overwhelm is we're spinning so many plates, we're doing so many things, and we're doing for other people. And then when people aren't doing their job, we're coming behind them and doing it for them. And so one of my clients was like, I finally just started letting shit go. And I realized that a lot of those balls that I thought couldn't be dropped actually could. And so it's a good reflection point for you to think about the things that are happening in your business, the things that you're paying your team members for, the things that you're doing in your business, how much of it is actually producing a result? How much of it is actually helping you? How much of it is making you money, saving you time, helping you grow? We get so stuck on autopilot in our decisions that we're just like, okay, I'm here. So the logical next step is here. The logical next decision is here, is doing this thing, is hiring this person. And again, we don't allow ourselves to go back into that overview. And so by pulling my client back into overview and saying what are all the things that you're holding? What do you actually need to hold? What's driving the business growth? What is driving the success that you feel internally? What is driving your family success? And what are you just doing because you've always done it? What can we let go of? What can we actually clear out? Because there's something really beautiful about finding a simplification point, of finding the most simple version of your business that can be highly profitable, that doesn't require every inch of your time and your brain and your emotions. And finding this space is what I love to do with clients, because there has been many times where people are like, I want to expand and go bigger and build an empire. And I'm like, let's do it. And then when we start doing it, they're like, I actually don't want this at all. And that's okay too. And it's like, okay, so what do you really want? What did you think that expansion or the new locations or this alternate revenue stream, what were you actually looking for that to do for you? And asking yourself that question instead. And when I ask that question, the answers are drastically different, but it generally comes down to, Well, I wanted more financial freedom. I wanted more time. I wanted more wealth, right? Because if I'm making more, then I have more freedom of choice. And I'm like, if we just want to make more money, then why don't we structure your current business and what's working already to do that instead of just like add on, add on, add on this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing, right? Because at a certain point, it's like ADHD, squirrels, we're chasing things. And then we're like, oh, now I've given myself 47 jobs. This is actually not what I wanted. So, if anything, this is reassurance to you that number one, you can let go of things without your business being affected. And number two, if your goal is to generate more revenue, specifically more profit, instead of always thinking that it needs to be something big and grand and fancy and shiny, you probably need to evaluate your current structure and look at the things that you're offering, your delivery model, your team structure, right? Everything that I teach, your people, your pricing, your processes, and close those gaps. Because you would be so surprised at what some of the smallest tweaks can do. Like one of my clients used to always say, you just make these small tweaks that create these big leaps. I'm like, yeah, that's what it's about, because we overcomplicate everything. So we touched on the guilt that we feel in living and having a life outside of our business and how to handle that. We touched on being able to be vulnerable with other people. We touched on making the right decisions based on what we actually want rather than just making decisions that we think we should. We touched on simplification. We touched on descaling to actually create a higher profit business. So there were so many other conversations beyond this, but a lot of those conversations actually steered towards the personal life. And I think this is an important mention because if you know anything about me and the way that I do things, it is that everything is interconnected. And my goal is to always make you a better version of yourself so that you can run your business better. So we have this strategic moves of actually reevaluating your infrastructure, but we're making those moves through the lens of longevity and through the lens of value alignment and making sure that we're addressing the mindset bullshit that's holding you back, making sure that we're addressing the beliefs and your communication skills. And so a lot of our conversations were around that. Like, how do we communicate with our spouses? How do we show up for our kids? How do we integrate and stick to and follow through with the routines and habits that we want for our own individual well-being and health? Right. And so that was a really beautiful part about the retreat, is that something that I do at all of my retreats is I always start with a morning routine. So I essentially take my morning routine and make all of my clients do it while we're there. And I do that on purpose. And one of my clients even was like, is it intentional that you like make us get up and meditate and journal and work out? And I'm like, absolutely. Because if I can make you do that for 4 days in a row, you're going to feel the effects of it. And then you're more likely to go and implant that into your life. Because if there's anything that I know, it's that when we hold our mental and physical health as our highest priority, everything we do is served better because of that. And so we got up every morning, we meditated, we did some breath work, we journaled, and then we moved our bodies, right? And we moved in a variety of ways. On the last day, we did like literally the most fun cycling class I've ever done. I didn't know it was this type of class because my event planner like booked the class. I just told her kind of like what I wanted. And it was like a booty work class, and it was all like 2000 hip hop. I was like, thank you, universe. This is amazing. We were swinging our towels. We were clapping. It was phenomenal. And that's another huge part of this, right? Is like, as silly as it sounds, like, when was the last time you allowed yourself to have fun? When's the last time that you laughed until you cried? I bought all of my clients wigs. If you haven't seen the reel on Instagram, please go watch it because it is fucking hilarious. I bought them all wigs and we did like a reveal of each wig, and I literally was bawling, crying. Of course, my client Jess in her blonde mullet was just those moments. And like, we played games with our wigs on, and it's like allowing yourself to just be a human for a few days, right? Allowing yourself to not just operate as like your identity being a business owner only. And I just think that's so fulfilling. and so important. So my takeaways for you are this. I hope that when you make decisions that you think about, is this what I really want? And I hope that when you seek support for yourself and for your business, that you recognize that it can never just be about the business, that you can definitely make strategic moves, but you want that strategy to be backed by your belief system and your mindset. And you need both in order to feel truly successful, because there's a lot of people that can teach you to be financially successful at the expense of your health or your family, right? And really, more than anything, it's like allowing yourself to be in rooms and make connections that honor the human part of you. Like, the most fulfilling and the part that I loved about, I recently went to Austin and I went there for a couple of different events, and I attended both events. Both of the most fulfilling things had nothing to do with business for me. It was going to a Pilates class with a group of women. We walked around, we talked business, we talked family, we talked all the things. We went to brunch, we went to coffee. We walked like 26,000 steps, and my heart was so full. I was like, this is the best, because I just got to be a human. So this is your permission to put yourself in rooms and be fully human. And I curate those types of rooms. So once again, if you have not gotten your ticket to City Girls, trust me, take a chance, come in the room, meet these type of women, connect, let them see you, let them hear you, strategize on your goals. Like, nobody's doing an event like this. And that's why I'm like, what are you guys doing? Because it's so good. Like, the fact that I'm plugging you in, you get access and proximity to people that will be your potential clients, referral partners, and you get to work on your business. You get to mastermind with 19 other successful people. You get solutions to your biggest problems. You get my eyes on your business. Like, nobody's doing this. It's amazing. So again, MFT guests, all caps, on the City Girls page at checkout. Any of the cities, it will work. Go get your tickets. I'll see you guys next week.